Putin signs pact with North Korea. Mass arrests in Kenya as angry citizens protest against tax hikes. Boeing crash families demand record $25 billion fine. Italian island of Capri bans tourists due to water crisis. Extreme heat killed more than 100 people in India since March. The world's oldest wine has been discovered.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Monday, June 24th, and here are your top stories. Vladimir Putin's first visit to North Korea in nearly a quarter of a century has been intensely scrutinized around the world. Russia knew the West was watching, and the optics were not subtle. Putin has been left out of many global gatherings of late and risks arrest in much of the world thanks to a warrant from the International Criminal Court over his invasion of Ukraine. But on Wednesday, the increasingly isolated Russian president was met with a rapturous welcome in Pyongyang. Children waved Russian flags as Putin's giant picture adorned one side of Kim Il-sung Square, while footage broadcast on Russian state media showed posters of the Kremlin leader lining the streets.
The rhetoric of the two leaders and their comprehensive strategic partnership pact left no doubt about their goal to unite against what Putin described as the imperialist policy of the United States and its satellites. According to Putin, the pact contains a clause similar to NATO's Article 5 for the provision of mutual assistance in the event of aggression against one of the parties to this agreement. According to the pact's text, Article 4 states that should either country get into a state of war due to an armed aggression, the other shall immediately provide military and other assistance with all the means at its disposal. Putin went on to accuse the West of violating its international responsibilities by delivering F-16s and other weapons to Ukraine, adding Russia, therefore, does not rule out the development of military technical cooperation with the DPRK following the document signed today. In other words, the two are promising to militarily help each other during escalating face-offs with their neighbors and the West, which raises major questions.
Protests have erupted in parts of Kenya, with hundreds detained by police as citizens rejected planned tax hikes in the East African nation already grappling with escalating living costs. Civil society groups said that at least 283 people have been arrested since Tuesday as protests flare over the proposed hikes. The government faced backlash in the capital, Nairobi, on Tuesday over the controversial bill and was forced to amend it after dozens of demonstrators rallied outside the country's parliament building. Among the taxes suspended was a 16% value-added tax on bread and a 2.5% tax on motor vehicles.
A proposed increase in mobile money transfer fees was also shelved, along with taxes on vegetable oil. Additionally, levies on locally produced products, such as diapers and sanitary towels, have been dropped. However, some Kenyans were not pleased with the changes and have called for the bill to be scrapped completely. Amnesty International's Kenya office said it was deeply outraged by the arbitrary arrest of peaceful protesters in Nairobi on Tuesday. The human rights organization said that the Kenyan police service had shown a blatant disregard for the right to protest, opting instead to silence dissent through force and intimidation. An alliance of civil society groups called for the unconditional release of detained protesters, including journalists.
The families of victims in two Boeing 737 MAX plane crashes have asked for prosecutions and a fine of $24.8 billion for the deadliest corporate crime in U.S. history. The family's lawyer, Paul Cassell, said the amount was justified and clearly appropriate given the enormous human cost of Boeing's crimes. In a 32-page letter seen by the BBC, Mr. Cassell said that the U.S. government should prosecute those leading the company when 346 people were killed in two crashes in 2018 and 2019. The letter cited the apology by Boeing's chief executive, Dave Calhoun, on Tuesday while he gave evidence to Congress.
Two 737 MAX aircraft were lost in separate but almost identical accidents that killed 346 people. Both crashes were linked to faulty flight control systems. Mr. Calhoun acknowledged in his congressional appearance that the company had made mistakes and said it had learned from the past. The Justice Department is considering whether to revive a criminal charge of fraud against Boeing laid in 2021 that was linked to the two crashes. The charge has lain dormant since the company acknowledged in a settlement that it had misled air safety regulators about aspects of the 737 MAX and promised to create a new compliance system to detect and prevent further fraud. The Justice Department has until the 7th of July to decide whether to revive the case.
Tourists who have booked a hotel on Capri will be allowed back onto the Italian island as the local administration works to secure water supplies after damage to the aqueduct on the mainland deprived it of running water. Capri Mayor Polo Foco told Italian news program TG Com24, "We're preparing a less restrictive new order to allow back residents, people who own second homes, which often have their own water tank, and tourists with a hotel booking. It will be the hotel's responsibility to ensure they have water."
Earlier on Saturday, Falco had issued an order that halted tourist arrivals after some pipes that burst in the coastal town of Castellammare di Stabia left Capri residents without water. He added, "We've been working through the night to secure water shipments and tankers carrying water, which have been arriving. I apologize to everyone, but there was nothing I could do. My priority had to be to prevent a healthcare emergency." According to a recent analysis from Libra Tech, a company that provides tech solutions to hotels, and tax-free shopping data firm Global Blue, Capri was the most popular Italian destination among foreign tourists in May and June, who accounted for 84% of total visitors to the country. Tourists on average spend 4 days on the island off the coast of Naples, with almost a third of them U.S. nationals.
A month-long heat wave across swathes of India has killed more than 100 people and led to over 40,000 suspected cases of heat stroke in the past 3.5 months. From March 1st to June 18th, 110 people in India died after suffering heat strokes. The data also showed that of the 40,272 suspected cases during this period, 457 were reported on Tuesday. The capital, New Delhi, has also been gripped by extreme heat, even as brief rains and winds on Thursday morning cooled temperatures after the city suffered its hottest night in over 5 decades earlier this week.
India declares a heat wave whenever temperatures are above 40 degrees Celsius in the plains and 30 C or more in its hilly regions. In recent weeks, parts of the capital reported temperatures up to 51 C, triggering record demand for electricity and leading to frequent power cuts in the city, which is also battling a severe water crisis. A number of places in northern India, where soaring temperatures have broken records, have also been forced to shut schools due to the heat. The main summer months, April to June, are always hot in most parts of India before the monsoon rains bring cooler temperatures. But the heat has become more intense in the past decade and is usually accompanied by severe water shortages, with tens of millions of India's 1.4 billion people lacking running water.
The world's oldest wine has been discovered at a Roman burial site in Spain, and one thing is clear, it definitely had body. According to new analysis, the wine has been held in a glass funeral urn for roughly 2,000 years, along with the cremated ashes of a man and a gold ring, inside an ancient mausoleum in Carmona, a small town in the southern region of Andalusia. The research was carried out by a team led by scientists from the University of Cordoba and was published this week in the Journal of Archaeological Science reports.
While the team was unable to pinpoint the wine's origin, the report added that the mineral profile of the reddish liquid is comparable to that of current sherry wines from Jerez, a city around 75 miles south of Carmona. Previously, it was thought that the oldest wine preserved in a liquid state was in a Speyer wine bottle, unearthed from a Roman tomb near the town of Speyer in Germany and dated between AD 325 and 350. The report stated, "This assumption has never been confirmed by chemical analysis." The Spanish urn has been sealed in the tomb since around the 1st century. It was recovered in 2019 after a family found a sunken tomb while having work done on their home. The discovery made headlines last year when the team announced that a crystal bottle found in one of the urns contained a 2,000-year-old patchouli-scented perfume.
The answer for last Friday was A, accuracy. She hits the ball with great accuracy. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of Putin's signs pact with North Korea. Number 1, warrant, 执行令, 授权令. They issue a warrant for her arrest. Number 2, adorn, 装饰, 装扮. The children adorn themselves with flowers. Number 3, subtle, 不易察觉的, 不明显的, 微妙的. There are subtle differences between the two versions. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.